Hi guys, I'm Aussie Villain, and welcome back to Jarun on the Impossible Dream. It's a transfer special today as we move from season 11, or season 11 or 10, anyway, we're on to the next season, and there is hopefully not too much for us to do. You guys have given me a lot of feedback, a lot to think about in terms of the formation that we play next season, so my philosophy coming into it is that I'm just very much going to sort of play it as we go. If we get a situation where, you know, two very good wingers or even one very good winger pops up for relatively cheap, then I might look to move the squad in that direction. But I think what I don't want to do is, and you guys have kind of said, is a complete squad rebuild. I don't really want to start retraining 5-6 members of the first team squad just to sort of fit into a formation. And you guys also gave me a few different formations to try out that wouldn't necessarily involve a big squad rebuild. So yeah, we're going to sort of play it how we go. Now, what we know is or isn't going to happen this window. We haven't signed anybody other than Page coming back as a coach. But Torres's contract is up this time next year. He has no interest in signing a new deal. We're going to have to cash in on him because otherwise we're going to lose him for nothing. There's no sign that he hasn't changed that stance for a season and a half now that he doesn't want to sign a new contract because there's interest elsewhere. So fair enough. That's what he wants to do. Up to him. He's got worldwide reputation. He probably has outgrown us a little bit, in truth. So what this means is Von Groningen will move over to right back or right wing back, whatever, however it is we're going to end up playing, and we're going to look to sign another left back to sort of fill in for Von Groningen. That's more natural in that position. So that's all that really has to happen. We have to sell Torres. We have to get a left back. Other than that, let's go and see what happens.
Jarune, za tebe mi dijete diše, tu je važno samo jedno, nogomet i ništa više. Jarune.
Now, we should have a look at what we've got to spend as well. We've got 52 million in the bank. That's not our transfer budget. Our transfer budget is 31 million. We get 100% of any revenue made. Now, I would like to get at least 30 million, as you saw, for Torres. So that gives us 60 million. And we've got about 90 grand a week, less the Torres money. He is on big money as well. Actually, no, we've got six. It's more or less the same. He's on big money. So that I think he's on 50, 60 grand a week. So that's going to go up again, once we sell Torres. So lot to work with as well, which is always fun, isn't it? Well, this is disappointing. Lokomotiva 3-1 down after the first leg, have won 3-0, and they are promoted. Dubrava are relegated. So it's just same old, isn't it? Very disappointing. I think Dubrava could be back up next season. I don't think Bordeaux will be. I think Dubrava could well come back. Now, this, of course, now means that we have end-of-season awards for the league. Champions League has been won as well. It was Real Madrid 2-1 over RB Leipzig in the final. Mazzolini's won the goal against FC Copenhagen. That was the third goal of the season. I find that very hard to believe, but anyway, that was that one. Sina has won the First Division Player of the Year, so well done to him. Caps a wonderful first season at the club. The Montel goal that the game gave us goal of the season was the goal of the season in the league as well. Mazzolini got third with another goal that obviously wasn't the one against Copenhagen. Team of the Year, we had two players of Asgard and Sina. We know we rotate a lot. I suspect that might be why it's not very dominant on Jarun players. I won Manager of the Year, so hooray for me on that one. World Cup squads have been announced. We can see some former players there. Misevic, who is the wonder kid that we came through our academy that we sold to Newcastle. Rupnik is going to the World Cup, as is Avila, Cocaine Ronaldo, if you remember him. And Ramsey, who is Jamaican, and I think is still at Aussie or Rijeka or somewhere like that where we sold him. Now, other thing to catch you up on here is our players that are going to the World Cup. There's 6 of them. Gavia, Kovacic, maybe surprisingly with Croatia. Montel, Sanchez, Monsalvo with Argentina. And Torres, for now, is our player. And he is going with Uruguay. So that's all very exciting. All right, we've had the European season update, and, well, it's not great news, but it was expected, to be honest. So the league has stayed 10th. We have dropped down 3 places to 26th. Again, that's not completely unexpected. If we go and have a look here, it's Germany and England that have got the extra spot. Homegrown players for the Champions League. There's a couple of big names that have become homegrown. Crespi, Crespi. Who else was there? There was one or two others. I think Pinta. Did Pinta become homegrown? Anyway, I'll leave it there. If you want to have a look, you can pause it. But I'm sure Pinter, yeah, there he is there. It's club trained now, so that's huge. Now, the league has slipped down a little bit in the coefficient. That wasn't unexpected. Portugal had a really good season that replaced a really bad season. We've got 2 or 3 seasons coming up now where it was really only just us and we weren't doing that well because we were new to the Champions League as well. I think we'll get them back in the next season or 2, but we've dropped from 7th to 8th, which is, listen, not ideal, but it's going to be salvageable. I'm fairly confident. Look, mate, I don't understand why you'd want to leave, honestly. Disrespected? Mate, you won an award. I gave you an award at the end of season awards. Yeah, I know it was the horse's ass, but still, it's better than nothing. So, there we go. We have sold the backup goalkeeper, $500,000, so we made a massive loss on him. Didn't even get half the money back. It saves us 12 grand a week. He's off to Aussie, so he'll be joining Gary Turpich there. Ultimately, you know, the reason I signed him was because I wasn't sure if Pinter was going to stay. I wanted somebody who would be a decent first choice if we needed to. Pinter ended up being happy to sign and stay, so we don't need him. We'll get rid of the 12 grand and we'll make up the 600, 700 grand we lost on transfer fee very, very quickly, of course. So, yeah, that's that. Dolling has left. Kosic will now be the backup, and I'll see. I might get somebody in that's maybe somewhere between Kosic. You can see Kosic here, just been injured. Nothing too serious. Kosic is okay, and he's a club trained, all that kind of stuff as well. So, yeah, we'll see what happens, but we don't need Dolling anymore. We have breaking news out of Croatia this evening as Jarun sell fullback Hugo Torres for a national record fee of £40 million to Sheffield United. Now, there is much confusion as to why Torres would choose to go to Sheffield, and the player will undergo a psychiatric examination upon arrival in the United Kingdom. So there we go. He could have had almost his choice of clubs, and he's chosen Sheffield United. 40 million we got for him. There's no add-on. I decided at 24, he's not expected to improve. To be honest, he was and he is very, very good. There's shortcomings in his game. I wasn't sure he was going to go on for that much more money. You know, he might go move for a similar fee, but I thought let's just get what we can get for him, because he's not the best technically, let's be honest. He's good physically, he's fairly good mentally, but I think 40 million is probably a pretty good fee for us, to be honest. So will be fondly remembered. Was what did he make here? 98 appearances, 17 goals. We signed him for 3.4 million a few seasons back now, and we've added a 0 and then some onto the transfer. So yeah, good luck, Godspeed, and why on earth did you go to Sheffield, mate? Okay, so we have sold another player. It is Christian Monsalvo. He's gone to Aston Villa, which is partly why I accepted the bid. It was also the highest offer. So just under 16 million, but crucially a 50% of the next fee. He's good. I mean, like, he is good. Genuinely, he is good, but he's a mercenary, although now it says he's balanced. That he's probably because he's got his big contract. I was just never really impressed by him either, to be honest. So, I mean, he's an Argentine international. He's at the World Cup right now. So there's a lot to say that we shouldn't have sold him. Maybe it's just one that's going to be controversial. Maybe I'm going to live to regret it, because he is good. I just don't think he ever quite did it for us. He was unhappy, and I just thought, you know what, we have plenty of centre-backs. We have young centre-backs that need game time anyway. So, yeah, we let him go. Hopefully. I'm not going to regret it, as I said. Now, in terms of finances, we are in a very healthy position right now. Over 100 million as a club, but 85, almost 86 million to spend. Almost 200 grand a week in wages. The money is there if we find the right players. Yeah, just whether we get a right winger in, potentially, or we still definitely need a left back. I just want to make sure I sign the right left back and don't sort of rush in and end up with you know, signing somebody and be like, oh, you're not that good, we have to sign this guy instead. So we'll get them in hopefully before the season starts. Okay, fellas, welcome back, everybody. We've got a big season ahead, so I hope everybody had a good summer. What's he doing here? What are you doing here? Yes, I do need a right... Oh, mate, fuck off. Look, security, either get me a milkshake or get him out of here. Okay, so we are going to play a game because we've got the Super Cup thing coming up, but we're having a bit of a problem at left back. Now, this guy was available for 1.7 million. We triggered it, as did a few others. He went to RB Leipzig instead of us, which is frustrating because I think we had him as a first-team player. We offered him roughly the same money. I mean, they did make the Champions League final, so maybe that's what he's thinking. But yeah, that would have been very, very nice. So it's left us in a little bit of a difficult situation now in that we need a left-back, and scouts aren't finding me any, which is a slight problem. So the two guys that we're looking at, Now we've got a bid in for him, 12 point something million. The one saving grace about him, it doesn't necessarily show here, is that he enjoys big games. There's two problems with him. One is stay back at all times. Now we can probably get rid of that, but we definitely need our wingbacks getting forward. The other is not a great ability to cross, but he's a decent tackler. He's a defensive fullback more so than anything. So yeah, that's one of the guys we're looking at. The other guy was at Inter, and I can't find him now, so he must have already moved. So yeah, it's a problem. Let's just say, who's this? A right back. I mean, he's the. Anyway, I'll try and sort something out, but yeah, it's just a slight problem. But anyway, as I said, we've got the Super Cup thing coming up against Slaven Belupo, I think it is. Who how many times I have to click back here? Because they beat. Any second. Now, there we go. Because they beat Dinamo in the Cup, so that's always funny. So let's have a look and see what we're doing, and we can have a bit of a discussion about the way we're going to go forward here. 4-4-2 is what we're expecting out of them. This is the team that we're looking to send out, although some heavy match loads in pre-season, which is fine. You'll see Van Groningen is unhappy because he wants to go to Barcelona. Not happening. So Pinter in goal, Sanchez, Crespi, Alvarez, Von Groningen, Kovacic, who is just back from the World Cup, which is still ongoing, in fact. Just shows exactly how early our season starts. If we had to go with him as first choice, would we be happy? No. I mean, he's not the worst, though, is he? So then we've got Montel, Vazgard, Gavia, Sina, and Lacko. Sort of coming into the season, I think this is our best side. So let's see how they do. Alright, so we can see the team sheets there. I don't recognise any former players in that team. Alright, so let's go out there and do it for the fans. I can get on board with that. So yeah, you'll notice we're obviously playing in the usual formation. The one thing I have changed is we've got rid of the wide centre-backs. We can do it in the league. I think in Europe that was something that was letting us down. Oh, the other thing is that we're not. This is a home game for us. We're not in our stadium, in the Jarun Stadium, because it's being redeveloped, and it's not. It's actually, to be fair, it's probably a nicer stadium. But it's not like whatever I thought it was. It's like 4,000 or 5,000 seats. So that's going to take the attendance up to 13,000, 14,000. So that's not a bad number, I don't think. So that's good. But yeah, we're renting another stadium. I think I can't remember whose stadium it was now. But anyway, so we're sort of a home away from home again after one season in our own stadium. We're on the road again. So yeah, that's not ideal, but we'll get a nicer stadium out of it. As that is in front of goal, and it's an own goal, I think. Lacko's there, he's got his hands up, but it's going to be given an own goal, and we've taken the lead. So yeah, I have been looking for a right winger, not Farage ideally, and the thing is that the players aren't that good. The wingers that we found, there's one guy that was available for like 16, 17 million, and he ended up going to West Ham, I think, and he just wasn't that good. Like when I looked at him, he just wasn't that good. So I don't want to sign players just for the sake of it, to play them in wide areas. So yeah, I'm just a little bit. It's always frustrating, trying to work the transfer market when we're not quite as big a club as we'd like to be. Liverpool have got a good fullback, because I have looked at loaning players as well. I mean, ironically, this is the season I'd love to get Enriquez or someone that we had as Lacko rattles the crossbar. One of those actual good left backs that we've had in the past, and we haven't really needed them, and they've ended up going back and not playing them, and then the club's annoyed at me. Ironically, I'd love one of those this season because we could really use it. Because I think Kovacic, I think, would be perfect for the league, to play week in, week out in the league, or whenever a first choice guy isn't. But he's not ready for Europe yet, I don't think. So that's that just kind of is what it is. Because he is the left back for Croatia and Rupnik. Remember him? He's FC's first choice. So Croatia is not really left back's not a strong place for them, and so it just makes it it's not like we can go and nick a good left back off of one of sort of the rivals in the league. So yeah, it's all a little a little frustrating, the left back situation. But what I'm hoping is that as we get closer to the end to the transfer deadline, to European football starting, even just the World Cup ending would be probably a benefit to us. And I will catch you up on the World Cup once it is done. It's probably not one for this episode, though. I don't think. I think maybe it'll just finish before our season starts, and we can have a look at it. But yeah, there's just not many players available this season. I mean, even the loans, there's not that many loans in sort of fullback areas or wide areas either. There was that's a nice play by Von Groningen over on his natural right hand side. Cena's got the goal, and that is 2-0 now, which is very, very nice indeed. Von Groningen. The other option we could have, of course, is we could just move Von Groningen back over to the left-hand side, and either Kovacic, who can play on the left-hand side as well, or get another right back in, which is maybe something we could look at doing. Again, I'd rather have the more natural players on both sides, but maybe, I mean, Von Groningen didn't do too badly at left back last year, did he? So maybe that's an option as well. Because there is, I'm not sure if he's still available. There was a right-sided, he was sort of a striker, but a natural winger as well on the right-hand side. I looked at signing him, but ultimately he was a little bit same. Like he would have been a better right winger than the players that we have right now, and we wouldn't have had to necessarily retrain him. But it just would have been another striker. We've already got Zabo, who is or was at least a wonder kid. That's a decent save. We're struggling to find him game time as it is. I didn't want to get another sort of similar striker wide player in, because we're just at risk, with game time and trying to give everybody the game time they want, and then having to make promises, and then I can't always keep them because there's too many of them that want that I've promised football to. We're just at a bit of a risk of getting a bit of a dodgy reputation amongst the team, so I want to avoid that as well. So yeah, it's all a bit frustrating, as it tends to be. All right, so let's make some changes here. Let's Kovacic is just back from the World Cup, so let's get Kovacic on for him. Let's take Montel off for Omarovic, and Gavia can go off for Siraj, and let's take Lacko off for Mazzoleni. Not sure how many subs we get. I don't think I'm going to replace what was the guy's name? I've already forgotten his name. Montel? No, Montel's the midfielder. Monsalvo. Because we've got Jakabusic, who's quite good. It'll give us a chance to play Skolabar a little bit more as well. So I don't think there's a desperate need to replace him in the squad. Although in Europe, Alvarez ideally would play it that little bit further forward, not as a centre back. But it's fine. We'll figure it out. And we do have some other young centre backs as well that would be fine for the league. You wouldn't want them playing in Europe, but they would be okay for the league. Now, I think... Cena. I think, too... I mean, this has been okay defensively, hasn't it? Now, I mean, Slaven did okay in Europe last year, too, didn't they? They got to the latter stages of the Conference League. Now, that's not Champions League, obviously, but it shows that they're no mugs, and we've looked quite comfortable defensively against them. Again, not great, you got to say, going forward. I don't think we need to see this because, it's the Charity Shield. So a solid enough win. It was absolutely fine. We've got a youngster going out to one of our young affiliates, or lower down affiliates. So that's that. And we've got about a week or so to go till the league season starts. So I've got to try and find us a left back. All right. So my left back just joined Bayer Leverkusen. So I don't even have my emergency option anymore. Dear football gods, please, please, please send me a left back. I desperately need one, and I haven't actually signed a player yet this transfer special. And we have a left back out of absolutely nowhere. This guy just popped up on the shortlist. I must have like shortlisted him, but he wasn't interested in joining, so he wasn't showing up. And then suddenly there he was, as if divine intervention. So a 19-year-old Uruguayan. So we've got one Uruguayan out in Torres, another one in Julian Gonzalez. He's 19. We've paid 6.25 up front with some add-ons there for 10 international games and 50 league games. He'll probably get the international games, to be fair. He may or may not play 50 league games for us. We'll have to see. And he's on 15 grand a week as a squad player, which is all very, very nice. We'll send him on the language course. And let's have a look at our new left back. And he's pretty good, I've got to say. Physically, he reminds me actually quite a bit. And I wish if I could go back and have a look at what Torres looked like when he showed up. But he reminds me a lot of Torres. Very, very good physically. Work rate, teamwork. He's got all those determination or aggression, all those sorts of things you'd expect from a Uruguayan defender. And technically, he has what he needs to be maybe marking could do with a bit of work. But he kind of has what he needs. So I'm, cautiously optimistic he's going to do quite well. He already has 6 caps for Uruguay, which is why I say he's probably going to get another 10. But I'm very, very pleased and relieved, I've got to say, that Mr. Gonzalez has joined us. So, welcome. All right, so we are at game day of our first game of the season. We start with Aussie this season, so that should be a good game, if nothing else. Just a quick review of everything that happened. Now, it's just the Torres and Dolling sales on sort of last season's part of things. This is just a academy graduate that we signed, but after he had expired his trial thing, so that's why he's showing us a free transfer there. If we have a look at anything that's happened or the other things that have happened, just the one signing in, I don't know if we'll do much more, to be honest. If we get the chance, and sometimes when we have a look at the squad planner, it becomes obvious that we're short in a position, but there's not much wrong with us, I don't think. I think tactically we just need to sort ourselves out. So Monsalvo left. We sold a youngster to Rudez. You can see he's not really going to ever amount to much, I wouldn't have thought. And then it's just some loanees, some youngsters going out on loan to our 2 affiliates. So, that's that. Now, the World Cup. Now, it hasn't actually finished yet, but it is a England-Portugal final, so that's going to be an interesting one. But let's have a quick recap of how things went overall. So I think the first surprise, Luxembourg qualified for the World Cup, which is excellent. Well done to them. They went out, unfortunately for them, but it looks like they did they score a goal? They did score a goal. They got a point, so that's a pretty good first experience. Qatar went out. As you can see, the France, Uruguay, and Canada went out. It was hosted by Japan. Austria, Brazil, and Ukraine went through, with Thailand going home. Netherlands, Chile, and Scotland. Well done, Scotland, going through at the expense of Nigeria. Denmark, Costa Rica, and Argentina. That's, of course, has a few of our boys in there. They went through. Ghana went out on goal difference. England and Ecuador went through. Morocco and Uzbekistan went out. Gavia's Mexico went through, with Senegal, Saudi Arabia, and Poland going out. Belgium, Germany, and Algeria went through, with China going out. Spain, Australia, and Mali went through. And then we've got US and Ireland, Italy, Croatia, of course, and Paraguay, with Portugal and Cameroon also going through. So the second round, and you can see them all there. Brazil going out on penalties, as did France to Argentina. I think this is where Australia got knocked out 6-1. Denmark over Paraguay, a bit of an upset. Yeah, Gavia's Mexico knocked out the Socceroos. Gavia has been put on the naughty step for that one. Croatia went through at the expense of Ireland. And Argentina on penalties, and they have a few of our boys. Of course, Montel, Sanchez, and, well, at the time, Monsalvo was ours as well. So that brings us to the round of 16. England in a thriller against Costa Rica. Chile knocked out Argentina. That's got to be an upset. Netherlands over Colombia. Austria smacked Denmark. Portugal on penalties against Gavia's Mexico. Croatia went through against Belgium. Germany against the US. And Spain. Scotland getting to the round of 16. Well done them. Quarterfinals, and England over Austria. Netherlands needed extra time to beat Chile. Portugal in a bit of a thriller against Spain. And Germany knocked out Croatia. So that meant all our players were out, but that's going to be a popular one, isn't it? England 3, Germany 0 in a World Cup semi-final. Portugal needed extra time to beat the Netherlands. And then the third place playoff, it was Germany 2, the Netherlands 0. And that's a bit of a rivalry as well, I think, there, isn't it? So that's how the World Cup played out. Let's have a quick look at our team start the season. And as ever, we'll start with the goalkeepers. Pinta is unhappy right now. Leicester's come in with some bids for him. Obviously, we do not want to sell him, and he's here for the foreseeable future, so hopefully he doesn't sulk. Kostic will be his deputy, his backup this season. And then he was out on loan last year. He's an academy kid, good potential. Bozo will be our third choice for this season. Centre-back, I've got to remember which side it is I set up to check. So we've got three centre-backs, I think, sort of first choice actual centre-backs. So Sanchez, who was just back from the World Cup with Argentina. Crespi, who didn't go to the World Cup with Italy. And then Jaka Busic, who I don't think ended up going to the World Cup with Croatia, though he was in their preliminary squad. Alvarez is sort of, for the league, he'll be a centre-back. For Europe, he'll be that sort of holding midfielder for us. And then we've got Skolopa, who is a good young academy player. And we've got Taninsky, who is a good young academy player. They'd all be fine for the league. And we've got Tenkovic as well. He was out on loan, I think, last season. And again, he would be fine for the league. So a good jumping reach on him as well. So yeah, I don't think we need a centre-back. I do wonder for European purposes if we're maybe one short, but we'll see how we go. Over to the left wing-back position, Kovacic will be sort of battling it out, I guess. He's got a lot of potential, so we don't want to stand in his way if he's good against Gonzalez. I think Gonzalez, for now, looks the better player, doesn't he? But whether that sort of stays the case. Kovacic, we know, can play both sides better on the right than the left, but he's an option. And then Rovers is back. He'll hopefully only fill in the league if and when we need him to. Over on the right-hand side, Von Groningen, on his more natural side. He could, of course, play on the left as well, obviously. Then we've got Kovacic, who we've just seen. And then Dovasar, who you might say we should be cashing in on, but he's only 18. He wins training almost every week. He's in the top 3 of training on the training report. So, yeah, I'm going to give him a little bit more game time, I think. And again, not for Europe, but certainly in the league, off the bench, especially to getting some experience. I think Porto's been bidding for him as well. Now, if we go and have a look at midfield, again, which side did I set up? This looks roughly right. I can't, no, it is that. Markic is definitely not playing. So, Montel is, I think, still first choice and probably the best midfielder at the club. Zinko has signed a new deal, so he's here for another 4 or 5 seasons, which I think is good. I don't think the star rating does him any favours. I think he's a lot better than 2.5 star. Then we've got Vazgard, who is obviously a star of the future, isn't he? What a player he's going to be. Omarovic, who we've had to agree to sell if we get a 4.6 million bid. I don't want to sell him, but we could get by without him, I think. Perso, Croatian international, of course, maybe needs to play a little bit more. Haskar, Bosnian international, maybe needs to play a little bit more. Palumbo, last year of his contract, I am trying to sell him because at this point you can see he's a fair way down the order. We don't need him. I'd be happy to keep him, but he is sort of, he's complaining a lot. He wants to play, which is fair enough, and I just don't know we're going to have enough game time to please him. Then we've got a couple of youngsters. Zalak, who I tried to send out on loan, but he didn't want to go to the second tier, which is, again, fair enough. So we might look to keep him for the Yags and then see where he goes in the new year. And then Novak, again, not necessarily don't want to sell him, but if we get a 4 million bid, I will. And if Omarovic leaves, and I think Novak becomes more important for us as well. And then we've got a couple of other young players here. Actually, just the one, really, because the others aren't really for this position. So Surshek, again, promising midfielder, not really ready. Didn't want to go to the second tier. Actually, no, they didn't say that he would play all the time, so there's no point sending him down. So, yeah. That's another one we'll probably see for the Yags this year. The number 10s, there's only really 2, isn't there? There is Gavia, who is a star, and then there is Siraj, who is quite good. We know our strikers, for the most part, can drop back in there. But then we've got 2 youngsters that we'll look to give some game time to where we can. Damian Ormarkic, the second, another good young attacking midfielder there. And then Silvio Kopic, 16, so he can play football this season. Not in the cup, unfortunately, but yeah, he looks like he could develop quite nicely as well. Which brings us, of course, to striker, and it's a position of strength, isn't it? Mazzoleni, absolute star. Lacko, absolute star. We've had bids coming in from him for the Premier League as well. Steven Sina, absolute star. He's really, really good, isn't he, Sina? Wow. And then we've got Madza, who came through the academy, of course. More of a poacher type of striker, but very, very good. Look at that off-the-ball movement, composure, finishing, dribbling. He's got all those sort of key stats you'd want, doesn't he? Zabo, who we've said we'd loan him out. I'll have to try that. The fickle personality is not great when he's not necessarily playing all the time. Lots of potential, but yeah, I signed him because he was cheap, basically, and we might just need to cash in on him. And there's a couple of youngsters here, less and less convinced these guys are going to make it with us, but we'll see. This guy's quite young. We'll see what happens. yeah, just couldn't get them to go out on loan, unfortunately, where I wanted them to. So that's that. In terms of finances, we're absolutely fine. We've got over 100 million in the bank, 76 million we can still spend on transfers, and we've got, what's that, 160,000 pounds a week we can spend on wages as well. So we're in a very, very good place there. And like I say, there's nothing that we desperately need to do, I don't think. You can see pre-season went fairly well. Yeah, nothing that we really have to do. If the right player comes up now, we'll sign them. And like I said, I don't necessarily think there's a lot that is wrong with the team. So that's that. If you've enjoyed it, thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new. Hopefully you like what we've done. And I will see you to start the season at home to Aussie and away to Hajduk Split. Take care.